Thank you so much for joining. Today, I have a wonderful guest, River. I actually met him at Wash, and I was trying to shoot a YouTube video, celebrity lookalike, I think, and we had an interesting conversation off that. And I knew I just had to come and talk to him again and have a longer conversation. So this is it. River is an artist and a filmmaker, and I'm excited to pick your brain today. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity a lot, actually.
Yeah, for sure. First off, I just want to know about your background. So, where are you from?
I'm from the Bronx, born and raised. I grew up there, and I didn't leave until my sophomore year of college. So that was only a year ago. So, I mean, not a year ago. That was only 4.5 months ago at this point. So I'm really like just straight from the Bronx.
Okay, bet. Do you still miss it at times? Do you still go back frequently, or?
I take the bus takes me. It's not hard to get there, I would say. So
Okay.
I go from time to time. I like to visit like my mom if it's just for like an evening. My mom and my sister, and then come back home. Uh, I feel like I really have made a home for myself here. But like Queens is nothing like the Bronx, and it like never will be. So yeah, I do go back from time to time. My friends are all from the Bronx too. So I go back like pretty frequently.
Bet. And you mentioned that Queens is not like the Bronx. What are some of the staples of the Bronx that you've grown to love?
Like, all right. The thing is that the Bronx definitely gets a bad rap.
Yes, for
Because
sure.
I think like the environmental like racism that was like done, like the things that were done to the Bronx that caused all the socioeconomic issues that occur there today, like are very obviously just like they characterize the stereotypes that are made about people who live there and what it's like living there. Um, I do like the food, I would say, is one thing. Is like you can get authentic like um you can even get like Southern food because there's like or Jamaican food, like
Mm-hmm.
Spanish food. You can like Dominican food, Puerto Rican food, like you can get all these different types of foods and it's within walking distance and it's from people who are a part of that culture, you know? And
Yeah.
it's also usually affordable. Like I'm not paying for a $10 bowl at Chipotle. I can go to like a store and get like a $6 plate with like mad rice and chicken and beans. And like that's a meal in itself, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I stayed before I came to my spot in Brooklyn. I was in the Bronx for about a month, and the food there is just on point
Yeah.
because, as you said, like the price, the affordability, and the diversity, all within a walk. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks. And you also mentioned just like the racism and the socioeconomic racism placed upon the Bronx. And it's tough to see that it's still being perpetuated by so many people, and that it, it's, I mean, racism is never ending, of course, but it just sucks to see how drastic of an influence it has beyond New York, even like
Yeah.
like just the rap that it has.
Yeah. I have friends who so I'm in Queens and like a lot of these people don't know about the Bronx or anything like that. Or if they do know about the Bronx, they're from like they might be like Italian or like ethnic in the way so they see the Bronx in that light. And so it's not necessarily a negative light. But I've heard from my friends who go to school in Boston that like when they say I'm from the Bronx, it's like people get shook immediately. People ask them if they've like been in shootouts before, and like people like ask them like crazy questions, and they treat them with respect, but it comes with like it's respect because they fear them literally because they're
Yeah,
black in the Bronx.
yeah. It's like it's not the respect that you want. Like it's not the
No.
respect that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so tough because yeah, especially in those colleges where there's a lot of people who have only heard things from like a friend of a friend of a friend of
Yeah,
someone who's like watching this shit online, like
yeah,
and all the bad parts about it that's just like broadcasted out.
yeah.
What are what are the things that just go unnoticed, like the beautiful things in the Bronx that go unnoticed?
Oh my God, this is the best question anyone has ever asked me. Because whenever I get a chance to talk about the Bronx, I'll speak about this without people asking me. And the number one thing about the Bronx, it has the best nature in New York City. This
Mm,
I don't care. Like I can go on about this all day. The Bronx has Bronx Park East, which if you trail the whole entire thing, it's there's huge parts of it. As Hunter Island, which I wrote my college essay on.
hey,
Um,
okay.
I it's one of my favorite places in the entire world. It's the only borough with deer. We have like a bunch of different like owls that come here. There's a guy. I wish I knew his Instagram so I could plug him, but he's from the Bronx and he makes very long videos about like animals that are in the Bronx, or like, and he also does
Mhm.
photography. And he's in Wash. He sells it sometimes, but
Oh,
like he's
dope.
from, and he just knows so much about the wildlife there. The wild, because the Bronx is connected to upstate, and so you have these animals that like come down and go back up, and like they've made their home in the Bronx. I've seen deer, skunk, like I've heard about the owls. There's coyotes in certain
Oh,
areas.
dang, that's amazing.
Um, there's a bobcat on the Bronx River. Like there, yeah, it has the best nature. It has like the Bronx River, like it's cut through with a highway and it's next to it, which is the sad part, but it's still
Mhm.
beautiful, especially in spring. Bronx Park East is very beautiful. Van Cortlandt Park is beautiful. Like they all like have had their experiences with people coming and messing them up, but they still are
Yeah,
beautiful. I've seen like turtles in the Bronx River. You see ducks, you see like all these animals. Like it's really beautiful, and it goes completely unnoticed.
dang. Yeah, that's tough because like just the biodiversity that you just described is a sight to see in and itself. Like that is
Yeah,
something that anybody should see and anybody should continue to see throughout their
exactly.
life. Like it's very important to see these animals, to experience these animals, to be up close and personal. I'm from Minnesota, so like
Oh no,
deer to me, like I've had deer in my backyard, and I
yeah,
need to go to where you're talking about. Like I need to go to those parks because I haven't seen a deer in a long time. In a long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
That's dope.
I'm
Okay.
I'm also fairly sure there's some fox. There's
Okay.
some
Okay.
there's groups of, I don't know if foxes is the right word, but
I don't know
there's
either.
there's foxes even in Queens, but they're in the Bronx too.
Mhm. Dang. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna try to find that dude who makes the documentaries about all the
It's got to be
animals.
like Bronx wildlife something. He's a really young dude who skates from like I think he sticks out like a sore thumb. If you look for him, you'll find him.
Oh, mad respect. Mad respect.
Yeah.
Okay. From the beauty and the grit of the Bronx, how does that transition into your creativity, being that you grew up with all of it?
I think that I think I think more like the the good and bad of the Bronx, as far as like okay, besides the nature and stuff. When we're talking about the culture and like the good and the bad and like living in the hood and like how it's the least gentrified borough and like you have all this culture and stuff. There's bad that comes with it, because the reason why there's so much culture is because like uh frankly white people haven't stepped all over it yet. And
Yeah.
so like uh I think that like that has influenced me creatively, because most of my creative influences when I was young were from outside sources. And I feel, and like movies and television are great and I love films obviously,
Yeah.
but when you're from somewhere where like it's filled with culture, but there's also like a bad side to it that comes from like the negative impact of socioeconomics that were put onto the Bronx. by gentrifiers, by people who wanted to like destroy this land and make it their own, whether it was like the Cross Bronx Expressway or like the landfills or anything of that sort. Freedom Land USA, like all these crazy things that they were trying to do in the Bronx to make money. And I think that influenced me in the way that like I can see the good and the bad in both. And as far as my creativity goes, like a lot of the short films I've made in the past were very like coming of age, I feel like, and they weren't very
Hmm.
mature. And even the one now I've been making this for, it's been a year now. It's been over
Hey,
a year now. I've been making this, and it's going to be like 15, 20 minutes. And I have actual actors in it, and I'm not in it. And like, it's like a bigger project, but like, it kind of makes me ambitious to, like have that culture, but also have like the outside influence. So like, when I say culture, I mean like, I'll have the outside influence where what I'm making is a horror film. Uh,
hmm,
it's a strange film, experimental horror film. It's very metaphorical. It's not meant to be taken literally, but like it in the same way is like there's culture there because like what the film is trying to say to me, and like the fact that like I feel like I would agree with someone similar, like the guy who made the Get Out movies, Jordan
yeah,
Peele,
Jordan Peele.
where
Shout out Jordan Peele.
yeah, he said like he would never hire like a black main actor, and I would agree with that unless they are white for a reason, or like the same way like white people put black people in movies because they just like they were black for a reason, whether they were
Yeah.
bad or whether they played like this stereotypical role. Is like the same way I would want to do. And I feel like that was like growing up around that culture has like uh affirmed that that was the right thing to do.
Hmm.
And as far as the nature goes, I think like nature today in this country is overlooked, and it's being destroyed by the minute. And I think that
Oh yeah.
even people in the Bronx don't recognize this. Like a lot of people in my high school say like I hate nature, I hate camping, like I hate things like that, and I understand why historically, and just like why a teenager would hate camping, because
Yeah.
teenagers hate everything. And but like
Yeah.
uh but like if when you like really are there and like you experience that whole different side to like living in a city, and you get a break, I think that expands your mind in more ways than one.
Hmm. I definitely agree, and I like how you are approaching your horror film, this upcoming film, one with maturity. I respect that a lot because it's important to grow as a filmmaker. Two,
Yeah,
I love how you're welcome. I love how you're embodying the culture that created you, that and still creates you and forms you to this day. It's great to see a piece of you in the art that you build.
yeah,
And it's important to not just build art for money. Like you got to build art because you enjoy the creative process and then
yeah,
enjoy looking at what it is like once you've created it.
yeah,
And it'll definitely be cool to see how you incorporate nature in a horror film that is very meta and not like the typical cookie cutter horror film that we're all kind of bored of, like to be honest, like we've
yeah,
all seen it.
yeah. We
Yeah.
have exactly.
Hmm.
I'm gonna move my spot because
Oh, no
I
worries.
picked I think it looked cool, but the lighting is bad, and I would rather sit in my little chair here.
Hey, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, what were the films that you were creating before this project, this feature that you got going on? That it was it wasn't as mature as you are now, but it was kind of like getting your footing into like what creation in film is.
Well, my first short film, Beach, uh, I actually did. Technically, my first short film was a short film that I made for church camp,
Hey,
and That was a very long time ago. But like, I did beach, and I remember I went to the beach alone one day, and I was like, nature is beautiful, the beach is beautiful. I want to like just show how like beautiful it is and how much I appreciated it using songs that I was just listening to at the time that I felt like fit the vibe of the beach. And like
Okay.
that was more just like me trying to do something nice, but it wasn't me saying anything.
I
Um
feel you.
yeah.
Was it a
And
silent film?
yeah, almost I think yeah, it was a silent film. My second film has dialogue through the whole thing, even though
Okay.
it's incoherent on purpose because my friend and I, all three short films that I've ever released were like unplanned.
Okay.
Beach was unplanned. Lobby was like it was cold outside, so me and my friend, instead of staying outside, we went in my building lobby. And then we were like, yo, let's just record stuff. And that was a collaborative effort between him and I.
I watched that one. I like that one a lot.
I think it's funny, but
Me
like
too.
I think I can see why some people would be like, "What is that?" But I think it's funny because it's just so unhinged and like I feel like it's unhinged. It doesn't push itself to be super unhinged and over the top, and it also like doesn't like it doesn't try to play itself seriously. It's just like two guys in a lobby, and that's literally what it is.
Yeah, the vibe that I got, like, I love the cinema fridge intro. I just love that.
So
Like,
thank
just
you.
the like the concept. Like, you kind of like, what, huh? Oh, okay, let's go with it. And then at the beginning, you're kind of like, what is going on? But you know the title. Like, you know the title, so you're aware. Like, it has something to do with the lobby. And in the beginning, it's so interesting because uh, I I don't remember it like to a T because I haven't watched it recently. But as you say, it's like you're rambling and you're going off tangent. And
Yeah,
I remember like towards the end or towards the middle, like you have an extended monologue.
yeah. Where
Yeah,
I'm
and I'm like,
like
okay.
I'm like talking about an elevator business, but I'm like arguing with myself because I'm on one side of the room and on the other, but I'm talking about the same thing.
Hmm.
Um, and like it was just like a bunch of it. I would give most of the credit to my friend, because like we brainstormed ideas, but like he edited the whole thing, which really brought
Okay.
this together.
Hmm.
And like I came up with stuff on the spot, but it was like to find I would give the credit to him that he found coherence throughout the whole thing to
Yeah.
like actually like create that film. And I think like it came I'm very like proud of that film. I'm proud of it. I feel like it's a wholly artistic vision.
Hmm.
The most fun way possible.
Yeah. And just by watching it, like you're able to like me as a viewer, I'm like, oh, like this dude is not taking himself too seriously. Like a lot of the times you see people who are afraid to explore or try when the camera's on. And nowadays, like in social media world, where we're all performing, like we're all
Yeah.
putting it on for the camera. And so it's refreshing to be able to like watch like mayhem, which is mayhem erupt. And then on top of that,
Yeah.
as you're saying, your friend was able to take your expression and be able to find a coherent line throughout that, which is cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very cool. He should give himself more credit.
And pat on the back to
Yeah,
wherever
for
he's at. Okay, tell me about so you said you created three short films, Beach and then Lobby. What was the third one?
So the third one, I feel like it has a message. It's definitely more mature in certain ways, but it's definitely my least favorite film that I've made.
Okay.
I don't like it. I put it on Cinema Fridge because I don't like, I don't hate it, and people watch it and some people really like it. So like I
Hmm.
can't like say like I don't think it's a poorly made film. I just think at the time I think, as an artist like grows, their art will reflect what they are like. And
Hmm.
what that person that I was at the time, I feel like is not a reflection of like me now.
I
And
see. Was it the birthday one?
birthday?
It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I forgot that was his birthday. Right, yeah. That is a message from the kids. That's the one
Hmm.
that's and I feel like I still stand by my message that I said, but I don't I just feel like it's so videography. I think that there's a difference between videographers and filmmakers, and I think that people don't make a distinctive difference, and that causes issues with like art forms. It's not that big of a deal, but I
Hmm.
think me, like, I want to hold myself to that, and I feel like it feels more like videography than like a short film, and like almost music video ish. But like
Yeah.
that is not I do want to make I do want to like have fun and make films that are like lobby. I love lobby still. And like I don't think I could make I don't think if given the exact same circumstances, lobby would be made today because I'm a different person and my friend is a different person and like I'm trying to grow as a person and like I'm a I'm experiencing life completely differently.
Hmm.
But like I think at that time I can just point out how like I just think it's really cringy, honestly. I think the film is kind of cringy. Um,
I wanted to
yeah,
ask, what do you think that the difference between videographers and filmmakers is?
I think that like a filmmaker is somebody who is trying to like. I think filmmaking is comes with intent, and videography comes with like comes more with I guess like within the theory of like what film is, which can be different for everyone. I remember I don't know if he still stands by this. But I remember a long time ago, me and my friend, when he was much more into film, when we would talk about it, he would say like film is like the best thing because like it's like dreaming, but you get to like experience it like on command, and
Mm.
like it's like stories are being told and stuff like that. Whereas videography doesn't have to be that way. And in a way, videography is more loose and more like free from the restrictions of like what film should be or is. But at the same time, film is more of like a refined version of videography in some ways. They both have their right to exist. They both are great in their own ways. Um, and they also like both can be put together. I think like a good example is like ASAP Rocky's Sundress music video.
Okay.
Um, I think that it is filmmaking throughout most of it, but then there's like a section in the middle where it's like him and his girlfriend before all the bad stuff happened, and it's them in the house and stuff. And I think if someone like that little clip there, I think all
Hmm.
that feels to me like videography.
I feel
Um,
you.
it's hard to quantify the difference, really. And that's something that like I would have to like think about and like write a paper about or something.
Hmm. That's definitely a question to be asked because there's so many answers, and it all hinges upon definitions of like
Yeah,
said art. Because one question that popped in my mind with the ASAP Rocky example is that like within a film, is it like because it is a film, is it now a film, but there are snippets of videography in it? Or like like there are so many like
yeah,
minutiae to
yeah,
dissect with that
yeah.
for real. Okay. You had mentioned about you were honestly very knowledgeable and very intellectual about the political experiences that the Bronx has had with the socioeconomic racism, the environmental racism, etc. And it seems like you're definitely very passionate about politics. Where did that arise from, and where do you want it to go?
Um, Thank you, by the way. But I guess it's kind of funny, and I've heard this from a bunch of like people before, and like people that used to follow me on Instagram, and all my friends all know this. Like, I think like the alt-right pipeline is extremely powerful.
Mm,
And so like the pipeline from like 14, like 12 to 14-year-old boys who don't know anything watching like Ben Shapiro videos because it's a little funny.
yeah,
Or like
yeah,
it's like, oh, like this is kind of funny. I'm gonna watch this. And then it's like, I'm gonna watch Steven Crowder now. Oh, he's really funny when he makes fun of black people. And then it's like, oh, he also hates women. And like you people get caught in this pipeline, and then you look around and you're on 8chan talking about like the rise of like how you want Nazism to like begin again. And so
hmm,
like my experience with that is that like I was definitely in the like I was in the baby stages of the alt-right pipeline when I was like 12. I was in middle school and I was watching Ben Shapiro, and like um I come from like like a Christian like family. So like at the time my family like believed the things he would say. So like I was having my beliefs affirmed right back to me whenever I would
yeah,
like show people or like express these things to people. And so people in my family, and so I just was like on this line. But then eventually like there were a few things that radicalized me. So like uh also was extremely ignorant, and like all I needed to do was peek into the other side,
yeah,
to like see how wrong I was, because that's like that's how they get. It's kind of like how the military chooses poor people so that they can like go fight for them. It's like they choose the people that they know are the most vulnerable and the most like misunderstanding of the things around them so that they can join them.
hmm,
And like for example, like what radicalized me on like immigration, as ignorant as it was as a like Afro Latino man to be anti-immigration, I was like 12 years old, like they need to follow the law and stuff. And then like I had a Spanish teacher, and she showed us this movie called El Norte, and that was a really good movie about like these two immigrants, brother and sister, who come from South America and try to like find a life here. And then like she had us read articles about things that immigrants were saying. And so instead of having like this Nazi tell me about like what immigrants are, I'm hearing it from them themselves. And I
hmm,
remember like reading it, and I was like, I don't know if I can be so I don't know if I can like hate someone like this, or like think that this person is wrong for trying to come here when like no one is helping them, and their America goes to their country and destroys it, and then doesn't want them to come here when they need help. And it's
hmm,
like I'd realized that, and I was like, wow, that's really powerful. And then that changed my mind. And then I would say I went to high school in the Bronx, and my high school had a very low graduation rate. It's like I think it was like 40 at one point. We lost our funding. We had like a paper drought. It was like really bad.
dang,
There was like fights every single day. Um, but one thing I will always say about my high school always is that this 99% of those teachers loved and cared about us. And like that love and care for students goes a significantly longer way than high graduation rates. And like
yeah.
I had my teacher, shout out Miss Ramdas, who
Shout out
in,
Miss Rhonda.
yeah, in 11th and 12th grade, she I know I have a friend who went to a high school. He went to Columbus High School, which is a high school that my mom went to and my older sister went to, and I was gonna end up going to, but they didn't accept me. This school, my high school was like my sixth choice, and I didn't want to go there, but I was a troublemaker in middle school a little bit, and so like this is what I was like given, and I remember just like sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
That was me getting a phone call. Miss Ramdas, instead of having us read Frankenstein and like all this like old literature and like classic American literature, we read Black literature and we read James Baldwin
Amazing.
and we read I think Nella Larson wrote Passing. I don't remember the woman's name who wrote it. We read like Black literature and Black feminist literature, and we read all of these things, and we had like poetry. We had like a huge poetry. What are those things called? Marking period. It was all about poetry, and like that really resonated with me, and that like taught me a lot, and like it exposed me to a lot. It exposed everyone in that class to a lot, and it got to the point that like some of the people that I graduated with that were like at one point way more radical than me are like just Democrats now. And I'm like way more, I've just become way more radicalized than them. And it's just I would attribute a lot of that to like my experience in my high school. And then just like I cannot be poor and like a person of color and see all these issues that are around me and have like people of color in my family that are like darker skinned than me, and like just be like, yeah, I'm gonna like maintain my ignorant views. Like it was a very childish time, but like I think like just existing kind of radicalized me.
Mm-hmm. And given that you have now like from being 12 years old watching Ben Shapiro to realizing after reading and watching El Norte, like reading about immigrants, reading what they're saying instead of just like what everyone else is saying about these people, understanding their experience, and then transitioning to high school where you're in, I forgot her name, but you're in her class.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Miss Ramdas, she's English, the AP English lit teacher and literature and language teacher so I
Miss
had her for 2
Ramdas. Hey,
yeah.
shout out Miss Ramdas. And then so you're now you're reading Black feminist works. You are understanding way more than you've known. And I mean, you're growing older. So now you like have a more open mind to a lot of the things that we overlook when we're focused on Ben Shapiro. And now you are like now you're becoming more radicalized to a lot of teachings and the way the world works from people on different sides of the pond. And it's cool to see that. It's cool to see your progression, because had you just like not seen the other side, or not even listened or taking the time to kind of see what other people are saying, like that's one thing that I respect about people like on both sides. Like if you are able to see the other side and talk about it, like then I can have somewhat of a respect for you. And it's unfortunate when people are on one side talking down about us, talking down on a side that they do not know anything about and don't take the time to learn anything about. And so that's where you learned and became educated within your politics. Where do you want to take that moving forward?
Well, besides my film degree, it looks like I'm most likely gonna try to get sociology too.
Okay.
Just like in sociology, I don't know if I want to go for more or if I could afford more, but I want to do like urban development, working with kids. Working with kids is my passion for a very long time. So I'd probably carry that on. I want to work with the program that worked at my high school actually, because they were very helpful to me. It was like I got therapy from them actually for like the first time in my life in high school, and I never would have. I would never had that opportunity had it not been for them. And like I want to. Global Kids is the name of the program, and
Global
like,
kids. Hey.
but like that's I do film is my passion, and I want to make art for a living. But until that happens, the most I want to work a fulfilling job, and that means like yeah, like doing urban development, community like leading. I already had done at 2 years ago at this point. I did like a 5K fundraiser with a few people from my high school, Muhammad Bayo, Elon Solano, Michael, I don't know his last name, and a bunch of other people that we did a fundraiser for the small businesses that were looted during Black Lives Matter, just by opportunity.
Respect.
And like I want to do things like that, just like community engagement, but probably with more of a focus on children and education.
Okay. That's cool. That's definitely cool. And it's cool to see that you're giving back to the programs I gave to you, and you're giving back what you're continuously learning. Like that is amazing for sure.
Yeah, it's really important. I learned like I took the job with kids because I wanted money, and like it changed like all both of the programs that I was in really changed my life. Like and yeah, I think just community engagement is extremely important and vital.
I definitely agree too, because I mean, our future are the kids. Like that's our future. And on top of that, as you're saying, I like the point that you made when you mentioned how it means more about if teachers care. Like having a teacher that cares about you and that's willing to invest time in you and invest their efforts into you means more than just graduating, because at face value, yes, graduating matters, like
Oh,
duh,
yeah.
but you can graduate, be out the door, shit out of luck with
Hmm.
a mind, like with a head not on your shoulders, with no direction and no deeper understanding of who you are. And it's very important that teachers, older people, people with knowledge continue to give back to younger generations and pay it forward. Because me personally, I'm always an advocate for that. Like I always like to take the time to teach someone how to do it my way, even if they don't do it my way, and even if they don't um like even if they don't agree with my way, at least I'm able to teach them something that has
Yeah.
worked for me and that allows them to take something out of it. Because you can always learn at least one thing from each lesson, like no matter what lesson it is. You can learn that you never want to do this thing again. Like that's a lesson in itself. And for me personally, like teaching, giving back, being able to like share your knowledge with someone else is just spectacular, because there are a million ways to do it, one thing, and the faster you learn them all, the faster you're able to learn which one's the best for you and how you get from point A to point B in your style and your fashion.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, one last question for you.
Okay.
With your horror film, being that this is, will it be your kind of like your feature film or your like fourth short film?
Yeah, it's my fourth short film. Wait, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're asking.
Like, I don't really know like cinematography speak, but in my mind, like feature film is like, this is me putting like putting myself out there, like like this is my like, like when they like, oh, like, and featuring this new actor, you know what I'm saying? But like for the director, it's like this is your like, okay, I'm here type
Yeah.
film. Yeah. Is
Um,
that for you?
I mean, it was never meant to be.
Okay.
Uh, I think when I came up with the idea, I just had a terrible headache and went outside alone because all my friends were busy and like was listening to an album and like when I sat down somewhere, I imagined a scene, and then that scene, as I walked throughout the night, became an idea, and that idea became a short film that I wanted to make. And now it's expanded way past what I had thought about saying. But I don't think that it's my for me that it's my thing of like I'm here, notice me, like this is my big thing. I guess like what people would call like my magnum opus, like my
Okay.
number film. But like
Oh yeah, not your number one film. That's like
uh,
in the future.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the thing that like starts me off, I
Hmm.
think in some ways it is because like it's gonna be my best. But I think no matter what my fourth short film was gonna be, it was gonna be that just because I've learned so much about filmmaking and like have matured and want to tell more mature stories. Or if I ever do something like Beach again, which I do plan on doing, tell it in a more even more refined and mature way that still encapsulates the love. And so no matter what, I want to like be evolving as like an artist. And I think like in a lot of ways I've like hit my peak with like other art forms like with clothing, but like for filmmaking I think I'm far from it. And I think this is like the first thing that I'm doing that's really good. It's taken a hell of a long time and it should have been. I would have hoped it would be done 6 months ago, but filming with three different actors who are in three different boroughs in three different schools is like it's hell on earth. So like it's been extremely challenging, but I guess in my eyes it's another short film because right after this I want to do Beach 2 and
Okay, bet.
I want to like I want to create that story, but at the same time like it is gonna end up being like my big thing because it's my most mature and ambitious film.
Mhm. I like that. I like that. Honestly, I'm excited for this film. Do you have a title for it?
It's the Sacred Whispers of Screeching Man.
Okay, I'm excited for the Sacred Whispers of Screeching Man, and I'm excited for Beach 2. Thank you so much, River, for talking. I learned a lot about you and a lot about your upbringing, a lot about how you think, and it's very cool to be able to sit down and chat with you. I appreciate your time and
Thank you.
can't wait for your success.
I appreciate it very much.
For sure. Okay, take care, bro.
Okay, thank you. You too.